It's very unfortunate that there's still so much racism in the world today. No one should think they're better than others just because they have a different skin color. These facts may go unnoticed by many, but for those who suffer from racism, it's a constant battle in their daily lives. Some forms of racism are, of course, more obvious than others, and that's why they're more shocking and disturbing to witnesses. The incident we're about to tell you about now is a sad example of that. The hero of our story, Jeremy Thompson, a successful music marketing entrepreneur, became the victim of a shameful incident just before his 38th birthday, revealing how little our society understands equality and empathy. As we explained earlier, Thompson was a very important music manager. This required him to travel a lot and spend more time on airplanes than he did in his beautiful large home in New York. However, just because Jeremy is a dedicated businessman doesn't mean he can't enjoy life and give himself a well-deserved break from time to time. And that's exactly what he was about to do on the day before his birthday, as he patiently waited for the airport staff to inspect his luggage and give him permission to board the plane that would take him to the unique and special place he had chosen to celebrate and get away from work for a week: the Dominican Republic. However, what Thompson would experience in the boarding line would ruin his perfect beach vacation and make him a star on social media for several weeks. Jeremy was holding a first-class ticket, and as expected, he was waiting to board in the priority boarding area. There were many other passengers like him waiting to board the plane. People from all over the world, China, Spain, Germany, Cuba, and so on, who had decided to treat themselves and travel to one of the most beautiful tourist destinations on the planet to enjoy life. But unfortunately, not everyone felt the same way about the equal opportunity people should have to enjoy such privileges in life. And Jeremy Thompson was a direct witness to this. Everything happened quickly. Thompson was still standing in the priority boarding line, looking at his phone, when he suddenly heard something that caught his attention and made him turn to check if what he heard was true. Directly behind him, there was a very elegant lady who seemed unable to believe that Thompson was a first-class passenger and that he should leave the line and let her go first. The lady said in a tone full of disdain, "Excuse me, sir, I think you're in the wrong place. This line is for priority boarding, and I seriously doubt you'll be able to access this kind of service. If you don't mind, my husband and I would like to board as soon as possible, and you're holding us up. Please step aside." Jeremy couldn't believe what he was hearing, and he tried to stay calm and polite with the lady, even though she didn't deserve an ounce of his respect. He replied, "If I'm not mistaken, this line is for passengers who bought a first-class ticket and have priority boarding over others, isn't that right, ma'am?" He looked at her coldly and said, "The lady who expected Thompson to turn away without argument out of fear of possible retaliation remained silent for a few seconds, staring at him with all the contempt she could muster. Finally, she replied, "That's right, this place is reserved for special people. You know, classy people like my husband and me. I don't mean to offend, but I think it's obvious this place isn't for you. Please, let me through and talk to the people in charge of the plane. I'm sure they'll know where your seat is." Jeremy felt as if a water balloon had exploded in his face. Are there really still people like this in the world? He realized it was impossible to have a polite conversation with this lady, so he decided to take things a step further and show her undeniable proof of what he was saying. Jeremy took the boarding pass out of his pocket and held it up for everyone to see, saying, "First class, madam. It seems to me that the only mistake here is a lack of education on your part, or maybe you need to visit an eye doctor to help you see reality more clearly." "I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Actually, I like being wrong," he said, as he raised the boarding pass and spoke in a louder, more challenging tone than usual. But the lady still didn't believe a single word Mr. Thompson was saying, and instead of apologizing and ending the ridiculous argument, she kept insisting on her original point, which only made things more complicated. You must be in the army or something like that. That's the only explanation for how you were able to get this credential. However, my husband and I still need to get through to reach our seats, the seats we paid for with our own money, so I ask you to wait and step aside. Thank you." She said that with cold indifference. Jeremy, who was getting more and more frustrated. The tension in the air was palpable because the argument had become very loud. It was no longer a private matter between Thompson and this mysterious, annoying couple, but rather among everyone present at the station who were looking at them with wide eyes, unable to believe what was happening. Jeremy, who was a respected person and known for not being used to living in such uncomfortable situations, felt that anxiety and anger sometimes took over him. And this was something he would not allow to happen. However, knowing that everyone was watching him and that he might end up as a meme on the internet within a few hours, he decided to respond just once to that annoying lady who was trying to ruin his birthday and his vacation. And he said to her in a loud and clear voice, "I'm not a military man either, ma'am. I'm too old for that. I'm simply a dark-skinned man with a lot of money, as much as you have, and maybe even more, but that's none of your business. And now, if you don't mind, I have to board a first-class flight because I paid for my ticket with my own money, and I have the right to pass in front of you and your esteemed husband. Have a good day." When he finished his sentence, Thompson turned around, grabbed his bag, and hurried to the front area where he was expected to board. Everyone in the line, and the rest of the people who were attentively following the discussion, burst into applause. Jeremy had never experienced anything like this before. His heart was beating fast. He knew he had made a foolish mistake by acting this way. He could have ignored her and continued waiting for his turn, but something inside him told him that he couldn't remain silent. What kind of example would he set for the rest of the people like him who struggle every day for respect? Silence was useless, and he refused to agree with that annoying woman. When Thompson arrived at his vacation destination after 8 hours and logged into social media, he discovered that his controversial discussion and his well-received reaction to the woman's comments had become a trending topic, and the post was gathering thousands of views, comments, and likes from people all over the world. Upon realizing the extent of his actions, Jeremy felt a mix of emotions ranging from gratitude to regret, because while there was no doubt that the woman's actions were unacceptable and deserved reproach. However, Thompson was not comfortable with how he reacted to the husband's continuous provocations, and he realized that his actions were not appropriate. So after 2 hours of reading thousands of comments that started piling up on the post, Jeremy began to feel regret for his actions and decided to do something to end the conflict in the most amicable way possible. The next day, he briefly forgot it was his birthday, unable to stop thinking about what happened. He posted a video in which he apologized for his actions and urged everyone not to follow his example in reacting to the comments of a woman whose only goal was to hurt his feelings. Thompson said in the video, "The story is definitely true, and so is this matter. But now I know that I should have learned to deal with it differently, or just let it go and not respond that way in front of all those people." He continued saying, "When I deal with people, I always try to stay on the right side to make sure I never hurt anyone. I always try to put myself in the other person's place and ask myself how I would feel if that person did this thing to me. And if I were in her place, it's clear to me that I would be devastated today. And that doesn't help improve the situation or make her better. It only generates more anger and brings more drama to a very complex issue that millions of people have been suffering from for hundreds of years. By acting this way, I only made the problem worse and increased the pain on both sides. I'm not proud, and I want to take back what I said." He ended the video. After sharing the apology video, millions of people responded by applauding his honesty and big heart. The story spread so widely that some national media outlets wanted to report it, congratulating Thompson on how he acted and how he set an example of good manners for everyone. "Mr. Thompson, you're a gentleman." This appeared on the front page of The Independent, one of the country's most read newspapers. Racism has no place in today's society. We all know that. The idea that someone is better or worse because of their race or skin color is outdated and meaningless. However, while most of us understand this and will resist racism wherever it rears its ugly head, there are still people who need to develop properly. Like the couple that Jeremy Thompson encountered that day. I'm glad that this man taught the woman a good lesson, but I'm even happier that he was able to apologize for his behavior in front of millions of people and set an example for everyone on how to deal with a problem like this. Did you like this touching and surprising story? If so, we invite you to leave a comment expressing your opinion. And if you want to keep enjoying inspiring stories like this, subscribe to our channel or watch the other videos displayed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you for your cooperation.